Welcome, everybody, to Pookie in Paradise. My name is Jeff. My friends call me Pookie. This is day, I don't even know, of quarantine. I'm going insane, losing my mind. I'm bored the fuck out of my mind, and I can't take it anymore. With us, as always, Andrew J. Mounts. How are you handling quarantine, Mounts?
I have not been quarantined. I've been going to work every day. Actually, I worked an extra day because people are sick, but
you're lucky, in a way.
No, I love it, except I have to take the bus to work, which is
just a big metal tube of coronavirus.
Oh my God. Like the first main day when like coronavirus was like a serious issue was like there's this old dude that I've seen multiple times, and he was like, I'm not letting this thing fucking change the way I live my life. And he was like this old black dude coughing. So I like hit the buzzer, got off. Then like 2 days later,
you didn't care where you were at that point. You just wanted to fuck off the bus.
Like I was literally a half mile away from my stop, and I got off, and I was like, fuck you. Like, you're an asshole. And then I come on the bus 2 days later to go back to work, and he's there with like the full mask and like.
Oh, now he's taking it seriously.
Yeah, no.
Fuck him. He probably gave it to 90 other people.
Right. We were talking, and we honestly think our kids already had it. Like
that's a month and a possibility.
2 months ago, my kids both were sick for 2 weeks. All the symptoms of, but the doctors were like, if we didn't have to bring them in, their fevers were like 100, 101, but they were still, consuming liquids, and they were, but they were sick. They had fevers. AJ had a terrible cough. But they didn't have shortness of breath. Like they didn't have trouble breathing. But other than that, but it was 2 weeks. It was a solid 2 weeks of being sick.
Well, I was reading this account from perfectly healthy 41-year-old man who just wrote down a journal essentially day by day from the time he thought he contracted it to the time he started feeling symptoms, and then he went and finally got a test, and then the test came back negative for influenza A and B, and then it was a couple more days. He chronicled every detail, and it is frightening. He was very, very sick, and this whole thing that young people can't be affected by it. That most young people maybe, but it's not true. There's a lot of young people that are. Even if you don't die from it, it's a very, very. It's not a common cold. It's much worse than that as far as the symptoms go. So I encourage all of our listeners, everybody out there, to be very safe and take it seriously. And maybe if I remember, if someone reminds me, I will try to post that account on the White Horse page so you can read it, because it's interesting. It's a very long read, but most of us are fucking stuck inside right now. So what else the fuck are we going to do other than to read that? The other thing, we have to mention. Well, we don't have to, but it's out there already. Leah's not with us today. She is her mother is in hospice care. She took a turn for the worst. She had a terrible injury to her leg, and the rehab process, the physical rehab process of that has been a complete nightmare and brutal for her. It might be that time where she just, doesn't have any fight left. So Leah is naturally trying to spend some time with the family, but this whole global pandemic makes it very difficult for her to do so, because her dad is up there in age where, this virus is, he's the perfect target for this virus. So she has to stay at least 6 feet away from him, when they're in the room. And she actually got a fever, and they kicked her out, even though, she doesn't have coronavirus. Let me make that very clear. They didn't even feel that it was necessary to test her. It was just a mild fever. And they said, look, you got to go. You got to, at least if you kick this thing, you can come back in 48 hours, but so it's making it very difficult. And there's so many things that you don't even think of that we take for granted. Like, when someone we care about dies, we generally have a funeral,
right.
That's very difficult to do in the time that we live in now. So in her place, and I know this is a very dark, depressing beginning to a show that we consider to be on the lighter or funny side, but I promise you it's going to get a little funnier here, because with us in her place is a member of the White Horse family, Double D. I would just call you D squared. Dave.
All right.
And right before we went to record the beginning of the show, Dave went live and shaved off his fucking eyebrows.
That I did.
Well, first of all, how you doing, Dave? Because Dave, we talked a little bit about this on the White Horse Live special, but if you didn't tune into that, Dave falls into that category where he's immunocompromised. So he is the person that you're supposed to be thinking of, and the reason why you shouldn't want to get this virus, because you could pass it on very easily to someone like him. You live about your life, and he goes through a difficult time and possibly, to get dark again, death. Like, it's a serious thing you have to take into consideration. So you are safe in your home, and you are bored out of your mind, so you decide to shave your eyebrows.
Yeah.
You look great, by the way.
Thank you. Well, I just got out of pen for a flare-up for cystic fibrosis, and it's just been, I couldn't leave the room there, and so just coming home straight, and now not being able to leave again, it's interesting times.
And there's a very good chance that no matter how long we are bitching about being stuck at home, you will probably have to be stuck at home a little bit longer than all of us.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering what the CF Foundation or my team or anybody's going to say, because like I mentioned earlier, I have friends in the UK with cystic fibrosis, and they were saying that they've been officially quarantined for 12 weeks, leaving, and it should be interesting.
Well, and look, our trajectory is, if you look at the charts, we're going straight up. Everybody else is starting to curve off. We are handling this thing the worst out of everyone.
Yeah.
Even Italy is looking better. They're starting to curve off. We are shooting straight up, and it doesn't look like there's any end in sight. So please be careful out there. But Dave, you had one of the funniest lines I've heard in a long time, where you said that it kind of looks like your forehead just runs straight down to your nose now.
Yeah, you don't know where my forehead begins or ends.
Right, it's your hairline and then the rest of your face until your mustache.
Yeah, my wife won't stop drooling when she looks at me. So.
Right. Oh, you think you're getting lucky tonight?
That's an understatement.
You're going to do that thing in Maxim that she never allowed you to do before.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance of her, when the action's happening, and she gets a real close up of your face, like her getting scared and just being like, "Oh, I can't do it. Can't do this."
You know what? I'll probably get pepper sprayed even before things begin.
So a couple things that we want to cover in the beginning here. Let me pull up the notes. I wanted to talk about, because this is something that we all have to think about here. Well, we're probably thinking about right now, but also later on, after this is all over, we're going to have to think about. I wanted to ask you guys, how has the coronavirus, this whole thing, changed your daily life so far? Let's start with Mounts.
Well, besides my kids being home every second of the day, and they closed the dollar store an hour earlier, my life is pretty much the same.
So if you get home from work even a little bit late, you don't get a chance to make that run.
Yeah,
so you have to do a little bit more planning in order for life to be convenient.
Right, and on top of it, they have this. The first hour that they're open is for senior citizens only. So, or people that are more likely to catch it. So they like that first hour. But today I went and I bought a soda to have change for the bus, which is now free. So
that's a big change in your life.
That's nice.
Bus ride?
Yeah, for $2.
Someone's looking out for Mounts.
Right. And there was no one on the bus today. I was the only one. Which I don't know.
The guy who tries to cough in your mouth every day.
He's probably dead.
Right. Yeah.
But
most likely that would be my guess.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know how long they're going to run a bus to Wilmelsdorf if there's nobody on it.
For free, yeah.
Yeah, for free.
Well, can you do me a favor? Because this is like the prime and most everybody was caught off guard. This is like a prime time where to create and release content because people are just dying to have something to view. It's boring, in life. So, can you please record yourself or have one of the kids record you trying to sneak into the dollar store during that time where it's only supposed to be old people?
All right, yeah, because I catch the 8 o'clock.
Promise me.
I promise.
We're just on a day off. It doesn't have to be right this second. It just.
Well, I'm saying I catch the 8 o'clock bus.
So you can do it.
So it gets there at like 8:15, 8:20. So at the dollar store. So I could just like
do it.
Walk real. And on top of it, they don't let you carry your backpack anymore. So I'll double whammy them. I'll sneak in and walk around with my backpack on.
Perfect. Dave, how has your life changed so far?
My kids are home all the time.
Is that good or is that bad? I feel like we're finding out how much people really truly dislike their kids. It's only been a week and people are bitching about hanging out with their kids.
I think it doesn't really start to get to me till the end of the day. I love my kids, and my wife plans like crazy, so there's a gajillion and one activities, and
right.
So they're occupied, and my two older ones are in school, and my one kid is really into school, so he likes to keep himself busy with that stuff. But at the end of the day, you feel the tiredness feels a little heavier than usual.
Right. You're more exhausted than usual. Well, if you think about it, like when school's out in the summer, you're prepared for it, and you can send them off to camp or you can send them off to playground. There's stuff to do. There's nothing for them to do right now.
You're right.
Yeah.
It would drive me insane if I had a little kid or more than one kid right now. Luckily, mine's 18. He's on his own. You have to entertain yourself, dude. But if it was like a 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old, I'd jump through the window.
My one has special needs, so that's making it a little harder. I think when you get to the Grammy one.
Remind me, he's really young, right?
Yeah, he's 3. He turns 4 next month, actually.
Okay, so he doesn't really know what's going on or why it has to be like this.
Yeah, and he's not autistic, so I think that he's not really aware of certain situations in his day to day. So he's really not up to what's going on now.
My life hasn't changed. I always joke that I've been practicing this whole social distancing thing for like 10 years.
Right.
But my version of social distancing is going out for lunch by myself. Now, I can do that now. Like I'm bored out of my fucking mind.
Right.
I'm looking for shit for the dog to do. Like there's no dog park. Like we can go to the dog park, but we can't be there with 100 people. It's
right.
It's and now there's a curfew. So like I'm down here. Like I do a lot of freelance work. That's dried up. Nobody's booking weddings. In fact, people are canceling weddings.
Yeah.
So I started, driving for Postmates just to make, a couple extra bucks while we're doing this down here. But now there's a fucking curfew at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And all these people want to order food at 11 o'clock because, so, and not only that, but everybody who's ever driven for Postmates is now active. So there's literally there's nothing happening all day long. So there's such a ripple effect here that's going to go crazy. And it ties into the next question I want to ask you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go in the same order. What do you think is going to stick here? What do you think is going to change like for good as a result of this? Mark, you can go ahead and go first. Definitely not the free bus. They'll eventually start
charge you again. Yeah, I actually have no idea what would stay the same. Like what policy?
Right. What's changed, in the world that now it's probably going to stick around for, if not ever, for a long time.
I just don't feel like our leadership learned anything. So I don't know if there's anything that will change.
That's a good point.
Or stay the same.
Right. What about you, Dave? What do you think? Do you think anything's going to like stick? Any life change? Any like the way we do things and operate?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that there will be changes. I think that we're too much in the whole thing's infancy to really see what's going to get affected the most. I think remote work for people is going to be taken a lot more seriously from now on. But and then obviously, health protocols and things like that will change. But I think it's hard to say. I'm sure dating really sucks right now. I feel bad for single people. Tinder's going to be real weird.
Right. No, I was going to say remote work too, because there was no reason why companies shouldn't have gone to a remote style work before this. Now they're being forced to.
Right.
And I mean, if you're thinking about being an employee, like you're not going to want to go back to the grind and sit in traffic for no reason and fucking drive, and unless you have an absolute reason to be there. And so I think remote work. If you're a company not embracing their whole remote thing, you're missing out completely. I think that we're going to have a lot of trouble getting people back to major events. Large gatherings, sporting events, concerts.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
things like that. I mean, maybe because music festivals and things like that still appeal to younger people, and we've been seeing how stupid they are. Just like fucking kids that are still going to spring break, and if you watch them being interviewed, it's ridiculous. Like I should have pulled up the video that I watched today and played for you guys. These fucking kids, man. They're like, well, I had this plan for 3 months, and I'm not gonna change my life.
Yeah,
and, I came here to party. I just turned 21.
It's really cramping my spring break.
Right. Oh wow, 3 months, 3 whole fucking months you've been planning this. It's like, wow. So
I'd pray my kids for friends.
So it's like, but like for me, like I love going to concerts. Like I would feel fine once this thing is passed, but how many other people are going to, stop doing stuff like that? And I think it's gonna have a very big ripple effect that we are not quite aware of as of right now. And I also think a definite side effect is that I really don't have anything funny to talk about on this show, because 90% of this show is commenting on how stupid people are, and I don't really see stupid people anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also a lot of this quarantine isolation stuff is really going to make people just more conscious and cognizant of a lot of things in life. Just from your day to day.
Yeah.
What you did when you went out, like you're going to go drive out and go grocery shopping and stuff. Are you going to be more effective with your time in the future? Because just the way that you're stuck inside all the time, so you're going to think about how you're going to plan when you get out.
Yeah, you know what I find myself like when I'm picking up, something to drink or something at a convenience store. I find myself standing like 10 feet away from people in line.
Mm-hmm.
And I find myself. I also find myself like noticing how often I touch my face. I don't know if that's for everybody.
Dude, I cannot stop touching my face.
And I realize that I'm doing it, and I still touch my face anyway.
Yeah.
Like it's just like I don't know if it's a tick or something. I don't know if it's everybody, but man, I touch my face constantly, and now realizing how much I do, I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm not dead yet. Because it's not like I'm okay. I have this incredible urge to touch my face, but I just touched the handle of a shopping cart. Let me at least wait till I get home where I can sanitize my hands. I'm like, I might be able to resist for like 30 seconds, but then I notice myself, after that 30 seconds, just doing it anyway, subconsciously. Man, it's fucking hard.
Yeah.
But one thing I do want to point out too, and I think it's important, is that there's a lot of good things that come out when times get tough. There's a lot of bad things. I mean, we can point to a lot of bad things, but I think it's important to point to the good things. And one of those good things has to do with our guest today, Zack Desantis. He started something called Berks County Quarantine Open Mic, and it's such a great idea because for two reasons. Number one, it gives something for people to watch while they're bored at home. They're not working, or if they're laid off for now and they can't work. There's only so many times you can watch your favorite show on Netflix before you want to rip your hair out. And I know that because I'm a serial watcher of shows over and over. I'll watch Parks and Rec 100 times in a row, but at some point it's like I need something else to do. And this is one of those things. But also, on the other hand, it gives artists a chance to do what they love to do, because they're not choosing to cancel these shows; they have to, and that's going to be tough on their side too. So this is there's a lot of good coming from this, and I'm really excited to talk to them about it. And it's amazing; it's taken off just in the last couple of days alone. There's when I checked it this morning, there was like 3,200 followers. Now there's almost 4,000.
Wow.
And this is something that goes on all day long. You can tune in, tune out whenever you want to. And it's one of those, it's going to end up being one of those great stories that come out of a really sucky few months, because that's what it looks like. It's going to be a couple months before this starts to clear up. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick break, and we'll bring Zack in, and we'll talk to him about what he's doing. And I'm really interested to hear what the plans are after this, because I think this is something that has to continue or be something for a lot longer than just a virus. The time that the virus is affecting our lives. Let's take a quick break. We'll come right back, and we'll talk to Zack.
Mm-hmm.
All right, welcome back. With us is Zack Desantis. How are you, Zack?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Surviving, which is, I guess, all you can do right now. And I really want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule for doing this, because you are quite the busy person right now, aren't you?
Yeah, it's kind of taking over my life right now, actually, but it's good. I got nothing else to do. I'm just playing music all day and messing around.
It could be worse, right?
Yeah, it could be worse. Like, I've kind of found a niche here.
That's awesome. So tell us about it's Berks County Quarantine Open Mic, right?
Yeah, so this page I started is called Berks County Quarantine Open Mic, and admittedly, this was not my idea. This guy in Delaware County, which I think is just the next county over towards Philadelphia, started this page that was, I guess he used to run like an open mic at a bar or whatever, and he started this page just for like his buddies to like live stream on the page. And one of my friends like posted about it, and I was like, oh man, that's a great idea. So I yanked that idea and I stole it and took it and started this Berks County one. And we're like a day behind him right now. So he has like, I'm looking at the members right now. We're at 4,030.
Wow. So just since when I checked it a half hour ago.
Yeah. Like
it's like 3,900.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Like, people just keep flocking to it. And I think the Delaware County one has like, they just crossed maybe 5,000. But yeah, like, it's basically, I'm kind of just, was just taking my cues from John's page for a minute, and he would just put up a list and be like, first come, first serve, sign up in the comments for like half-hour slots. And at first, I started it and I was like, I just want to like stay connected with my buddies that are all songwriters and stuff.
Right.
And then like, I legit invited 30 people when I started. I was like, these 30 people that showed up quickly that are songwriters. And then that was on Tuesday. And now there's 4,000 people in this group. It's wild.
It's incredible to hear about something like that, because I have been working on this page, the Pookie in Paradise page, for like 4 years. And it took us 4 years. We're about to cross 1,000. Wow. So it's amazing how like a great idea can catch fire like that and explode.
Well, my YouTube channel, I think, has like 26.
It's infuriating, right? Like, you can't get your mom to hit subscribe, and she never even watches YouTube. Like,
I'm posting the same stuff on my YouTube channel, and I'm like going live, and like all these people are like, "Oh my god, you're great!" And
right.
Like, I've been doing the same thing for the last 2 years, but it's like taken the situation that we've like found ourselves in for people to start paying attention to, like, I mean, I guess I understand it. Like, if you have like a life and you're like dealing with stuff outside of your house, there's really not that much of a reason for you to be glued to like me playing guitar on the internet or like some other guy playing guitar on the internet. Like, it doesn't matter. But
well, I think there's probably a lot of feelings behind this, and there's a lot of reasons why people are flocking to this, and admittedly other areas that are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little bit comforting, at least in my opinion, that no matter what I'm doing throughout my day, I can switch on a local I'm from Berks County. I live in Florida now, but I can turn on like a local page and I can see that the world is still turning. These people are people that I know, or I know where they're from, and here they are. They're still doing what they love to do, despite the conditions that we find ourselves in currently, and that's comforting.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that for players, it's like comforting to have an outlet to like go and still play, because these people are used to like playing gigs and like going out and playing live at bars or whatever, and all of that is just done. So you don't, money aside, like we've all lost like a ton of money from losing gigs, but like you also lose that, like there's a reason that we do that thing. Like I love to play music, and have lost that like outlet to go play live. So this is sort of like a pretty good way to keep that going. And then for like spectators to see like, okay, sort of everything is not fine, but like there's some normalcy. Like there's still people like, that want to create and want to do art, and they're willing to share it. And I think that's great.
Yeah. Well, now let me ask you, up until now, have you been making a living? Is it your full-time job as a songwriter artist, or are you working and doing this as a supplement?
At this point, it's like 80%. Like, so I sort of made like, it's real cheesy and cliche, but like the 5-year plan thing. So almost 5 years ago to the day, like I started working construction. Like when you knew me in high school, I was like roofing jobs and shit. And like I did that, and I was just like playing guitar and playing drums. And then, now I'm 36 or 37 or whatever. And
whatever age you are.
I don't know how old I am. So like 5 years ago, I was like, I gotta stop, and like I quit this HVAC job that I was making really good money at, and I took a job at like a local music shop in an effort to kind of be like, all right, I'm gonna like give this is gonna be my avenue into like not working a labor job. And there's nothing wrong with working a labor job, I did it for 20 years. So, but I was like, I think that I've become maybe good enough to like eventually stop working a labor job. So I worked at this music shop, and then in the last year and a half, I've like pared down, and I work there like 1 or 2 days a week, and the rest is like playing guitar gigs and playing like producing people's records and recording stuff and teaching lessons. And so it's not like I just go out and play guitar. It's like the all-encompassing like
right
the music thing. Like so I'm maybe like 80-20. Like,
well, that's good for you. That's when you're working a part-time job to supplement your income as a full-time job, and the full-time job is what you love to do. You made it.
Yeah, man. I'm like very happy with like, I would love to be full-time music, and I would love to not think about bills on music, but I'm very happy to be like, I can pay my bills working like part-time at this job that is also music, and just basically gig labor. Like I'll just play guitar gigs and teach lessons and do recording stuff and whatever. Yeah, I'm very fortunate to be able to do that.
And unfortunately, like you mentioned, that seems to have come to a screeching halt right now.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I was in the middle of this recording project for a couple, like the band that I'm in that's like around my songs. We were like working on this EP, and then a bunch of the other bands, like I play in like 5 or 6 different bands, and like it just so happened that like none of us really were booking gigs, because I wasn't booking that many gigs because I was working on this recording project, and the other bands were just like I think in like January and February, I think I played like 25 gigs, which is pretty much,
right.
I made a ton of money. And in March, I was just like, all right, I need to like back off and like finish these recording projects. And then like this happened. So I haven't lost a ton of money. I think it depends how much this stretches out. Like I lost 3 or 4 gigs in March, and I lost like the first one in April got canceled, and it's like, who knows? Like, I have stuff booked out into like July, you know, like who knows what's gonna happen in this situation. But some of my buddies, like my friend Matt, like quit his job 2.5, 3 years ago and plays 5 days a week, and that's his income. Like he's a cover musician, and he has like a song list of like 300 songs.
Right.
And that's what he does. He plays bars 5 nights a week, and that's his living. And like he's just done. Like,
completely, yeah.
Which is just scary. Like I'm really feel fortunate that like I can make some of my living doing like recording projects, and you know, I'm not just like a go out and play kind of musician.
Yeah. Well, we're all hoping that this doesn't stretch out for too long, but maybe one of the unintended consequences of what you started with this Facebook page is that you've been able to, during this time, perhaps grow your audience. You know, people can find you now that maybe didn't know that you existed before this. And that doesn't just go for you, but maybe other artists as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've noticed, like, you know, people will like, especially like today. So it's been growing like steadily. It's been like 5 days, and like the first day it was just like my friends tuned in, and like we kind of got drunk and played music at each other and laughed about it. And the next day it was like, who are these strangers? And now there's like consistently, you know, 60, 70, 80 people like watching the streams at any given time. Like I can maybe look at what, it's not important. My buddy Tim is playing right now, and my girlfriend is taking over admin duties. But yeah, like he's got 50 people watching him, and he can put up like a link to like his Venmo and PayPal and whatever. And you know, people have like tipped me, and I've made some money, like not a ton of money, but in a situation where I'm like, okay, last week I lost like the $100 I was supposed to make on like a guitar gig, like, you know, that like $25
makes a difference. Yeah,
that's a big deal to me, you know,
especially for the you know, because we're all struggling artists. That's the cliche term, but the fact of the matter is 90% of the artists out there are struggling and grinding each day to make a living. Then, you know, the other 10% that make it big maybe don't have to grind like that, but they certainly remember grinding like that. So
yeah, I think there's very few people that have like made it in any avenue like this. You know, like Joe Rogan wasn't just like, I'm a podcaster and now I don't have to work anymore. You know, like everybody that's tried to like take the thing that they love and turn it, like monetize it somehow. It's kind of ugly to think about like money and art. I'm always like weird about it, but you know, ideally you want to be able to make enough money to just like do your art and whatever that art may be. And you have it's just really hard to like try to balance. Like you got to go to work, but still put a good product out. I don't know if that is making any sense. But.
Well, I want to commend you for, and I don't know if this was the first performance. It probably wasn't, but I happened to just when I first started following the page, you were on there and you said, "Look, I'm gonna play a set here," and then you talked a little bit about it. And you said, "Look, I don't want any artist that's playing on this to feel weird or guilty about posting their Venmo or their PayPal or their Cash App and asking for tips. I'll take all that weirdness on and I'll do it first." And I thought that was really powerful moment, because as artists, it's almost like we don't mind asking people to pay $10 for a ticket to come see us, but it's really weird to personally ask somebody, if you're willing, please feel free to give me some money, through my Venmo. That is a ultimately weird feeling. It would make me uncomfortable. It's made me uncomfortable before. So for you to be able to start that, and be like, I'll take the burden of the weirdness here, and that way the rest of you can do it as well.
Yeah, and I know like that has worked out for people in our group and for people in the Delco group. Like again, like maybe it's not like a ton of money, but it's like something,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just strange. Like you're used to going out like for guys like me, you're used to like going out to play a gig at a bar or whatever, and the bar is paying you, and maybe you'll have a tip jar out there, and you know, maybe some people will like give you money, but you're not like soliciting them, and soliciting people for money is just like ugly. Like, I don't want to knock on somebody's door and be like, hey, let me play my guitar and like give me $5. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But you know, if you don't, it's one of those things, like if you don't ask for it, people won't even know that that's like a thing that they have wanted, that they would want to do. Like I started asking, you know, I tried to be like very nice about it, but I started putting like at the bottom of the sign up sheet maybe 2 days ago, like if you find value in this group and you want to donate to admins, like please, you know, feel free to do that. And I was using like my personal one, and then I made one like just for like the admins,
Right.
Because I can't do this every day. It's an absurd amount of work. Like I
can only imagine.
Like it's just, I've never gotten so many messages from random people in my entire life. It's crazy. Like every 7 minutes, somebody is like messaging me about like how to get on a list or how to like go live on a thing, and it's just like,
right.
oh, and I've sort of like accidentally signed myself up to do that. But anyway, since I like asked, I put that out there, like, hey, if you, like maybe this is worth something to you, go ahead and give money. Like I've made some money off of that, and I like split it with the admins, and we all like got a little bit. You know, It's like a labor of love situation, I guess.
In a sense, you are providing a service to these artists. You know, it's giving them an outlet to build their audience, and that's ultimately what could happen here. You know, and one thing I really love about this too, and again, maybe an unintended consequence. You know, I was in a band back in high school. We weren't very good, but you know, I was very aware of the music scene in Berks County, and I was proud to be a part of it. And then I kind of just went around and did my own thing, and I'm like, oh, you know, the music scene isn't the same like when we were young. But the fact of the matter is, it's thriving. There's a good music scene in Berks County, and you just got to get out there and witness it. So hopefully, after this is all over, people are going to run to go out and be a part of a really exciting music scene in, you know, just a small county.
And I'm hoping that, yeah, I didn't know you were in a band back then. Me and Jeff, I don't know if you guys know this, but me and Jeff didn't get along in high school. But
it's
anyway,
true. It's true. Yeah.
It's true. I don't really remember why, because
I don't know. It was good.
Yeah, like I've had people message me from like other, like some dude from Texas messaged me, and some kid from Alabama messaged me, and one or two others that were like, I love this idea. I'm like doing this in my own town, like starting my own thing in my county or whatever. And I think that's gonna, I don't know, people are fickle, so who knows what's gonna happen. But like, if the response that like these performers are getting now, like is any indication, like when all of this is over and we're allowed to like play shows again, like I think the scene across the country is going to be different. Like people are going to have to realize that like they're like forced to be like, oh man, there's like really talented people like in my backyard, and that they never paid attention to. And like, you know, the Monday before we got locked in our houses, like I went to play an open mic and there was like 6 people there and nobody cared. You know, maybe that'll be maybe we'll see like a different situation. I hope.
I really hope so, because as a kid doing it, and even now, like you know, we had a live event for one of our, you know, seasons, our podcast season, and you know, 300 people showed up just to see us. That was, you know, it was thrilling. You know, the tickets were free again. Like we didn't feel comfortable asking for money and that kind of thing, but still, just to have people take time out of their Saturday to come and see what we had to say.
Right. All the things they could have done like on a Saturday, like they chose to do your thing. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, I really hope that, and I remember doing that as a kid. Like we would go see bands, like Mounts and I, we would go see bands like Since the Fall and Very October, and you know, all the like the local bands that would come there, and I remember there a lot of times being a lot of people there. But I felt, I guess I got older. Maybe it was because I wasn't putting the work into finding these acts, I felt like it was just kind of dying off, and maybe it did, and maybe it's come back since then. Things have a tendency to do that, but those are some of my best memories, going to those shows, meeting new people, and
we're talking about like the Heasters.
The Easter shows, yeah,
for sure.
There was
before my time. I don't know.
Shocktoberfest. Going to see bands play at Shocktoberfest. The skate park.
Oh yeah, what was it called?
Wooden Waves. Sound Waves.
Yeah,
right.
That was
before my time. I don't know. I didn't play guitar till like after high school, but I remember like everybody going to those shows. I went to Easter's a few times, but I think the scene definitely did change. Like when you guys were all going to like Easter's, that was like this, from what I understand, this like amazing like scene that was really like tight knit and everybody supported each other, and it like definitely fell off at some point. But I feel like it was like starting to come back, which this situation sort of sucks, but I think it's temporary and we're gonna like come back stronger than ever. And like
I really hope so, because you described it almost perfectly, because it really was just, we would see the same people, even though we didn't go to the same school or didn't, there was no Facebook to keep in contact with them, or, there was no social media period, except for maybe Zanga at that time. MySpace was maybe, just on the horizon,
right.
But we would go and see the people that we didn't talk to all week long.
And you knew every Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah, you didn't have to like, hit up your friends and be like, "Are you going?" Like that was just like the thing that you were gonna do.
Yep. It was like I said, one of the a lot of the best memories of my life come during that time. So yeah, I mean, I think the people are missing out if they're not trying to do that kind of stuff. So I really do hope that this sparks that fire, and people are like, I love music. Here's a chance for me to go pay a couple bucks, a $10 cover to go see, a couple bands play, or a couple, artists. Go see an open mic. It's something different that you can do that isn't the same old, and you might find someone that you really like and end up listening to for a very long time.
Well, yeah, especially like, I don't know. Open mics have always been have been close to my heart for some reason. Like when I first started playing guitar, I lived up in Vermont, and I would go to this open mic, and I was like very bad. I was like first year guitar and trying to write songs, and I was a bad guitarist and a bad singer, but people were like supportive of me, and that like open mic vibe between like performers is really nice. And I think that, and I understand this, but for like a spectator, they're like, why would I go to an open mic? Everybody sucks. Like they're all new and they're all bad. But that's like generally not true. Like, yes, some people are beginners, and like, yes, not everybody's like super polished, but some really good artists go to like these open mics locally in whatever town you're in, and there's just not that much support for them. So I hope that like this being like labeled as like an open mic might make people be like, oh, I want to go check out like the open mic that's happening for my house or whatever.
I wish I could listen all day long. I have projects that I've been procrastinating on myself that I'm trying to work on, and but I tune every once in a while. And there was this guy, I forget his name, but I loved it because he was playing old emo songs, just arrangements that he was doing on his piano, keyboard, and his acoustic guitar. He played a brand new song that I just absolutely loved. So, man, that was like a trip down memory lane for me. And I'm like, this guy was really good. I never heard of him before. He was really good.
I can find it. What's our time frame?
It was like a couple days ago. He's he's got muscles. I don't. He's tattoos. Right. He's
name is Josh. He's got a on, and he's playing brand new songs on the
guitar. Right. He looks like he would be kicking my ass in high school, but instead he loves the same songs that I do. That's great. So
that was me back then with the Sixers jersey. I was kicking ass. No, I was not.
Let me ask you this. So obviously, at some point, this is going to come to an end in some way, shape, or form. Not the page, but the times that we're dealing with here.
Right.
What do you think the future of this? I know it's probably hard to answer that question because it's just starting, and who knows? It kind of like exploded. But what do you think? You think that this is something that's going to continue on after this?
I think what's going to happen with the page itself, like when everyone's allowed to go back out to bars, the page itself is definitely going to like not be an everyday thing. I don't think there's like an audience for that. Like if you have ability to go do the normal shit you would do, there's not going to be like an everyday audience. But I'm always trying to like think about what's going to happen. So I think it'll end up being like maybe, like once a week on a weeknight when like people are normally like not trying to go out and spend money at the bar, or like, people with kids that like don't go to the bar. Like I don't have any kids. Like I'll go to play an open mic every night of the week. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But so I think once like however this pans out, that the people that are left are going to go back out to the bar or whatever. I think the page will definitely stay up, and we'll try to maybe do like a once a week thing or twice a week, and maybe it'll still be a place where people can like go to just leave the videos that they've worked on or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And also there's this huge archive. Like one of the beautiful things about like this format and this platform is like there's already, I don't know, 75 or so like videos of people's sets on there, and they're just like archived there. Like I think that's amazing. You can people are like all these comments on them. Everybody's like, you can like share that in the future, and like Facebook memories are gonna like next year we'll be like, oh shit, remember when this happened? This is my set. And I think that's beautiful. And then on the outside of your house thing, I'd like to try to flip it into some kind of like a showcase or like an open mic at a physical place where like maybe a number of these people that have really latched onto this idea would like to come and play and like spectate, which with this many people that are in this group, and if this continues like at this rate, we're like getting like 750 followers a day. So
it's unbelievable.
It's wild, dude. Like again, like you've been working on your page for 4 years to get 1,000. Like I've had my YouTube channel up forever to get 30. Like my band has 600. Like I'm trying not to be like frustrated by that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's different because it's so collaborative in a way. It's
right.
You're tapping into so if you have 40 artists performing on this thing, you're tapping into all 40 of those audiences that are all coming to one central location. So it just lights a fire under it. And
like that whole thing is like spider webbing out into everybody else's little circle, and then they're telling their friends, and it's all coming back.
And exactly. It's worth a share to those artists because they want to stay in contact with their audience. They don't want to be forgotten during the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, couple months. So there's such a benefit to the artist to share this amazing thing with their regular audience. And their regular audience, wants to see them, Yeah,
exactly. Like people, and like we're also now getting like people signed up on the list that are like more established, like more like popular bands or duos and stuff.
Right.
And then that's just making it like more and like even bigger and bigger, because these people that would go physically to go see this band once a month or whatever, like now they have like an outlet to like listen to this band's live stream.
Yeah.
So I don't see it like slowing down. Like I keep putting lists out. So I put lists out now. First I put up lists out, and it was like one day, does anybody care about this thing? It filled up rather quickly. The next day I put a single list out, and it was full in 40 minutes.
Right. Well, I've been following it. Now you're putting out virtual fires and you're stepping in between virtual fistfights for these slots.
Yeah, exactly.
They become very valuable. They become like gold.
Yeah, so like now I'm putting them out like 2 days in a row. Like I put out Monday and Tuesday, and like there's I don't know, it's like 5 to midnight, so there's like 13 slots, so 26 slots, and both of those lists are full in an hour and 10 minutes or something. And that's my hour of like admin, like
right
on the keyboard, like responding to strangers. But
well, and then I've also seen, and this, I just laughed at this, like, some guy was like, "Oh, I see you thought my video was offensive," and you're like, "No, man, it's just, you're taking away from the artist that's performing there." Like, so now you have the downside of it, where now you have someone who might be an asshole, or maybe it wasn't even intended that they were trying to be an asshole, but like, this is the whole point of the thing. Like, this isn't for you to interrupt other people's performances. This is something that so that's why he took it down. So it's just like,
yeah, exactly. And I'm trying to.
You handled it very well. You handled it well, way better than I would have handled it, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to be like nice to everyone, which doesn't really like come all that natural to me. It's easy. Like it's easy to be a dick on the internet. So it's also easy to be like nicer than you are on the internet too. Like you can take a second and be like, maybe I'm going to respond to this guy in a polite way instead of, because I'm sure you guys are like internet dudes. Apparently, I'm sure you get frustrated with just the public on the internet is just sometimes.
At times, yeah.
But that you don't know like what that dude means. You don't know like we're like used to interacting with people like in comment sections, and we're used to like trying to write things that are legible and write things that like make sense and like get our point across. Like we're used to doing that. So I'm trying to keep in mind that like not everybody is like used to this situation. Not everybody like goes live on the internet or like host their own podcast for the last number of years, and like not everybody is good at it. So I'm just trying to be really polite to everybody, but at the same time, like still like admin the page, which is something
you have to be firm. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never like wanted to be like a page admin, but I got stuck.
Well, what's crazy is, the kids that are coming up through high school now that's going to be that is a job in some cases where you get paid to be a Facebook page admin. Like people are going to wake up one day and be like, "Oh, I want to be a Facebook page admin."
Dude, it is legit.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. I'm upset about how much work that is.
I didn't sign up for this shit.
I didn't, dude. I was like,
I just want to play some music. Now you don't have time to play music.
Oh, I thought one of you guys were trying to say something.
Oh. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think that this thing is going to continue to grow. It's going to end up being a full-time job for you. It's going to. I think it'll monetize naturally. Facebook loves shit like this because they'll throw their ads in it and everything like that. So, but here's what I think. After this is all gone, maybe I think too big sometimes, but I see this as like a all day or 2 day like festival event where you invite all these artists to come and perform, and I see thousands of people coming out because they feel like they were a part of something, and that connection is going to be really powerful.
Yeah, I would love for that to happen, and I would love for someone else to organize that thing. Let me come to it.
Right. You just want to play it.
Yeah, I just want to like play the show. I just want to walk up like with a crown on, maybe, and be like, I've done this thing, but not actually have to do anything.
Well, I tell you what, if my prediction is correct, I love collaborating. I love taking on things that I probably shouldn't because I have other things to do. I would be really excited about that because, again, my heart, I know, and I don't want to speak for Mounts, but I know there's a special place in his life for those memories that we had. We love music in general. And I would love to be a part of something like that. Most of our audience is in the Berks County, Chester County area. And they're pretty loyal. And I think they would come out to it even if they aren't listening to this particular episode. I think they would come out to an event. What we could have. We just talked to Matty Whipple. I don't know if you know that name.
Oh yeah, he's
magician, comedian.
He's supposed to do some close-up magic. I was trying to coordinate with him to sign up for a set.
Oh, he's such a. We had him on last week. He's such a great guy. Like I could see like a combination of a lot of the local talent, whether it be comedians, magicians, podcasters, where we could do a collaborative live show that incorporates all the great things that are going on in just our little area in the world.
I love that idea. Yeah, and we did have this guy's name is Tim Shapiro, who I've met before, and he is like one of the like production managers of some kind at the Performing Arts Center, like in Reading.
Mm-hmm.
He made a post that was like basically exactly what you're saying. Like, I hope after this we can do a concert with all these people, and maybe I can pull some strings and get it like at the Performing Arts Center. And I was like, sure, man. Again,
that would be amazing.
Any of that, but I'd love to come to that.
Well, we appreciate you taking time tonight. We know you're busy.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Jeff. It's really good to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm so proud that you're the one who did this, and it's a great thing you're doing for artists and just people that are stuck at home. And it's such a positive thing when we see so much negative going on. So it's really a light during a dark time. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. I'm going to give you the chance to plug your music and the page and everything, and anything else you want to plug. Please do.
Okay, sure. So my name's Zack Desantis. I'm running the Berks County Quarantine Open Mic page on Facebook, and it's a place where you can go and listen to artists, and you can sign up for a slot if you are an artist, and you can do your thing for a half hour. Also, I play in a bunch of bands: The Quiet Campaign, Andy Brutus, Blastoid, Red Eye. I'm really easy to find on the internet. So if you just hit me up on Facebook and send me a friend request, and, check the thing out. It's been going really well. And I really do appreciate you guys. I know I pretty much talked through the whole thing.
Oh, well, that's why, you're way more interesting than we are. So that's why we want you on.
Yeah, in my house. I'm like, 4 people, let's go.
That's how I feel like when people ask me to go on their podcast or something like that, or, and they're like, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. And they're like, yeah, but we invited you here to talk. And I'm like, I guess. I guess whatever. They're going to be bored.
You said nothing, Dave. I love your eyebrows.
Thank you.
But the other thing, I don't know how far, I can't remember, but it just came across my newsfeed. I clicked on it. I like doing stuff like that, but it was you, and it was a video that you were doing about, it's kind of like a brief idea of how like you structure a song or you start to write a song. And I always find that fascinating. And it reminded me, and I loved it, that there's a band called Bleachers that did like this whole thing where the dude wrote a song in like 5 minutes, and it was amazing. It's like one of my favorite songs at the time. And I'm like, this is fucking incredible. Like how does this guy do this in 5 minutes? So I found that really interesting. I don't know how far back that video was made, but if our audience wants to see something really cool, that's really interesting.
I like to check that out. Songwriting is a weird thing. It's like I think it's like a muscle,
Yeah.
You look at like really good songwriters that can like just crap out a song in like 10 minutes. It's like, it's not about that 10 minutes. It's like any skill, you don't pay like a master plumber a ton of money an hour because he can fix something in 10 minutes. He can fix it in 10 minutes. He knows what's happening. Like, you're paying for the last 10 years of him working on that, or
getting to that point. Yeah. That's a really cool perspective, but we'll let you get back to work. We'll be watching, and
for sure.
Yes, check out Zack's music. Check out the page, Berks County Quarantine Open Mic, because there's a Berks County Open Mic. Don't get the two mixed up. They're two very different things. But check it out. It's really awesome what they're doing. And when all this is over, go out and see them physically, because the hardest thing for an artist is not to have an actual physical audience. That's what drives them. I think if you ask any artist, they'll tell you that. So great job, and thanks again.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. That was our interview with Zack Desantis from Berks County Quarantine Open Mic, doing amazing, great, wonderful things. But we have some wonderful things to talk of, wonderful things of our own to talk about here before we get into the end of the show. And actually, they're basically just all Dave. Dave leads a very interesting life in many different ways. And we were trying, because we're terrible influences, we were suggesting that maybe Dave should take one of his medical marijuana pills before the show started. And the reason that we wanted him to do it is because every once in a while shit gets a little crazy for you when you do that. Is it because the stuff is like extra strong or just any more potent than the stuff that you just buy illegally, or do you not know that?
I really don't know. I think, like, aside from being drunk at a party once in college, I never smoked weed or anything, just because of the whole CF lung thing and blah blah blah,
Right.
or just anything else for that matter. But
It's safer for you to swallow it in pill form or eat it.
Yeah.
Smoking is detrimental.
Yeah. Usually frowned upon with cystic fibrosis and any kind of smoke in the lungs.
All right, so we have a little bit of time here. We actually we're making good time for once, so we're going to ruin that off script, off the outline. But Dave shared a story about a medical marijuana experience prior to the show, and I wanted to give him a chance to share that with you guys because it's just so great. So we have time for like 2 stories. So I definitely want the one that we talked about, and then pick your other best medical marijuana story.
All right.
Whenever you're ready. Right. Keeping in mind, we're staring at it right now. He's got no eyebrows.
That's true. Quarantine's getting to me. I wanted to entertain everyone. The weirder the joke, the better, in my opinion. So I went on Facebook Live and shaved off my eyebrows.
Love it.
All right. So, I was prescribed medical marijuana I think 2 years back, and like I said, I had never done anything before other than drinking in college and all that stuff. And one of the first times that I took it was around, I believe, when Downton Abbey was going off the air.
And you like the show Downton Abbey, right?
Was that?
You like the show Downton Abbey, right?
My wife. It was actually, my wife was real big into it. So I took it and I got kind of whacked out of my mind, and I felt that donating money was going to bring the show back. So I made a donation, and I thought that was going to save the show, maybe add a few seasons, light some fire under the producers' asses. But
how much was the donation?
I think it was like $200 or something.
So a show that probably has a budget of like $1 million, at least $1 million an episode.
Right. And I'm just like, wait.
Thought your $200 to PBS was going to save it.
Yep. I'm here to save the day.
But Mounts, had a thought on this, right?
Yeah, well, they did put that movie. It took them about 5 years, so maybe that was like the pebble that started the
point.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been, because maybe it wasn't the money that pushed. Maybe they just needed one more individual.
The passion.
Yeah, the passion.
Okay, we got, instead of 49,000 donations, we got our 50,000. That was the trigger that said, okay, we can go and make the movie now.
By a terminally ill guy in Pennsylvania. It looks like the genetic makeup of Pusha Falkart and Michael Jackson. Let's fucking get that right there on the air.
And not only that, you did it for your wife.
Right. There we go.
But you also had no recollection of it the next day, right?
No.
So who told you? Did Sarah tell you?
I think it was, I think she refreshed my memory, or there was something that it was just kind of.
She got the credit card bill or something?
Yeah.
Which is like, what the fuck is this $200?
To PBS at 12 a.m.? What the hell are you doing?
And then you didn't remember, and then it something sparked you, like, well, honey.
Yeah.
I did it for you.
Yeah.
I did it to save Downton Abbey.
I'm not gonna lie.
Luckiest woman ever.
I fell in love with Downton Abbey and became very invested. Like Joanna watched it, and I was like, "Oh God, this shit." And then like she watched an episode without me, and I fucking got furious.
Right.
I was like, "Well, how the hell do I know now who?"
Yeah.
No, that actually would end the relationship, right?
That's probably what the last straw was. She's skipping ahead.
So what's the other story that you came up with that you feel?
All right. So the other one, I've got a lot of fun stories in medicine. One time I was on a medicine called prednisone, and it just jacked up my emotions, and I like sobbed through the end of the Santa Claus with my kids. The part where he's getting arrested. My wife never lets me live that down because I was like, just tears streaming down my face, like, let Santa go! My kids are like, what the fuck is wrong with Dad? My wife is probably looking up divorce attorneys on her phone.
Kids probably don't understand what the fact that the medicine is doing something weird to you.
Right. Yeah.
Why is Dad crying at this fucking? And that's
it's a Tim Allen movie, Dad. Get it together.
Get your shit together, Dad.
I had one time where I had taken it. I was just having a excruciating night. I took it. I forgot that I took it. So I took an extra one, and it was just awful. And I ended up
the weed pills here, right?
Yeah. I was going to go walk upstairs, and I remember getting to the top of the stairs, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that took 3 hours. Later, when I came back down, I was sitting next to my wife, and she was like, what the hell are you doing on the stairs? You were there for like 8 minutes. What is going on?
We might share that in common because when I get super high, I get that feeling too where like I'll be at my buddy's house, he'll be having like a bonfire, I'll smoke a ton of weed, and then my drink will be out, and I'll get out of the chair, I'll walk over to where the bottle of vodka is and the mixers, and then I'll forget, and I'll have to walk back and get the ice out of the cooler because that's over by my chair. And I'll walk, and then I'll finally get all that done, make the perfect drink, and then I'll walk back into the circle where everybody's sitting, and I'll be like, was I gone for like 3 hours?
Right.
Like you were gone for 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved to Philly, I smoked ghetto weed from some dude in North Philly, and I hallucinated. I think, and I lived in South Philly, and I worked in Center City, but I walked home, and I swear to God, this homeless guy was shouting at me, so I took off running, and I swear I was running for 20 minutes, and I made it a block, and I was like, oh my God. I don't remember getting home. I don't know how I got, like, literally it was I just straight down Broad Street until I hit the road I lived on, and then it was a left. But I ran. I forgot. I thought it was a half hour, and I thought I was dying. And I turned around, and I was literally like the dude was closer than he was when I started running.
Right. He caught up. Just sitting there.
He was like, something.
I hallucinated one time. It was the worst experience of my life. I thought I was having a heart attack, and it lasted like 5 hours. I was very, very close to dialing 911. So it was scary. All right, so let's go to the end of the show here. What did we learn today? Mounts, I want to know what you learned.
I learned that the Berks County music scene's still alive, and it's refreshing to know that. I mean, Frank always fought to keep it alive, Frank Phobia, and he did well. But to see that there's so many people interested in watching live musicians now is nice. Yeah,
it's a great thing. It's a really good feeling. Absolutely. Dave, what did you learn today?
I think it's interesting to see creativity in chaos. When people in situations like that, what comes from it? Not that, I would love to see this music scene blossom as opposed to the coronavirus being there and all that. But it is nice to see something positive kind of coming out sideways.
Yeah, and also like how quick it happened.
Right.
I feel like it would have taken me like 3 weeks to figure this out, and then by then it would be too late.
Right.
Everybody's figuring it out so quick. Maybe I'm too high. I'm just running in place.
Trying to get down to Abbey back.
I learned that we have to. A lot of the content that we need to put out in the future is we have to force a marijuana pill down Dave's throat and then just set him free.
Just do an entire episode of just
Yes, I want to take you to a party. I want to shove like 3 or 4 of those pills down your throat. And
one would be fine.
No.
How did Dave die?
Well, he took 4 medical marijuana pills.
Right.
The prescription for the last year, he's taken 4 at once. Why? Because his friends wanted him to, because they thought it would be funny.
Just thought it'd be good for ratings.
But no, seriously, like I think we have to have like a white horse gathering where we watch, like maybe it's Troll 2 and we all get super high, but Dave takes his medical marijuana pill and the camera's just following him the whole time.
Did you say Troll 2?
Yeah.
I will freak out.
Well, no, well, even better. But Troll 2.
We'll watch the Santa Claus.
Well, I mean, I would love to see you ball at the end of Terminator 2 when he's lowering himself into the
hand,
molten lava. Yeah. He gives the final thumbs up.
Yeah, he will be back.
I've never seen Terminator 2.
What?
Did we have this conversation before?
We did, yeah.
Oh my god! Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Go watch it.
I'm gonna watch it tonight, the second we sign off. But I think I said that last time, and I didn't.
All right, and you didn't. The burning question this week. What is the first thing that you guys are going to do when this is over? Talking about that again, amounts just for say, like, you could go to work, but you're really not supposed to go out in between work. So,
right. No,
you can't go do your normal things all the time. So, what's the first thing that you're going to do when this is all done?
Strip club.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the strip club. When I get my tax return, I set $100 aside for the strip club, and I never ever go ever. Like I really haven't. I haven't been in years.
This is a great answer because this whole quarantine thing lined up right around the time you started making more money, and you're officially became single.
Right,
so, like the perfect time to go to the strip club, and you can't.
Perfect. Yeah. So. But I made.
Feel like if Dave was on his medical marijuana pill, he'd be sobbing right now because of the heart rate
amounts.
I'm telling right now.
But I'm gonna start. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put $100 aside for every paycheck, and by the time we get out of here, we'll be able to get a limousine.
Right.
We'll take a limousine to Atlantic City.
Right. Not even that. You're just gonna buy Al's.
Just buy. Yeah.
You'll have enough for a down payment on Al Diamond's Cabaret.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Right. Unless you give us money. Give us money. We'll see. Dave, what is your plan? As soon as you are able to safely leave the confines of your home, what do you miss the most? What are you going to go do? First thing you're going to do?
Just someone with my kids. Take one to a park.
Oh shit! That's a way better answer.
Well, it's.
Well, my first thing would be to do something away from my kids, but you are a much better person than I am.
You know what? I definitely have my moments where I want to just fucking break through the wall and have some alone time, and I'm sure just like everybody else. But yeah, I like my kids. But
you're a little bit because you want to actually go outside and do something with them, whereas right now one of the things that you can do, as long as there's not a bunch of people there, is take your kids to the park or take them for a walk or that kind of stuff. You can't do that, right?
No, and it's a little close for comfort sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I feel bad, especially with my son who's autistic. I think it's harder for him because going to the park is, it's routine, it's so integral, and plus it gets energy out and all of that. And he has no understanding of what's going on. But yeah, probably park. Maybe I'll take some medical marijuana first.
Well, that would be great. I think it needs to be something that you do. I hate to say this, like daily basis.
You know what? It hits me so much. At first when I was prescribed to it, you can do it, and I just can't.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever do it around my kids. I just happen to be around my kids that one time.
Well, I just meant to keep me entertained. I just things that you do. It has nothing to do with your health or
right.
Just
we'll start a whole other podcast. Just me just getting fucked up.
Yes, I love it. I had in this. I miss baseball, so just watching a baseball game would just feel so normal to me because I watch every single Mets game throughout the season. I rarely miss one, and I pay for the MLB package, which allows me to, if I do miss it live, go back and watch it later on. So like I'll fall asleep to it or something like that. So I rarely miss a game. So I miss that. But the other thing I really miss, because it's very likely that Firefly is going to be canceled, I can't wait to just go to a concert again. It's been so long before this hit because I've just been getting ready to move and money's tight and that kind of stuff. So it's like I haven't gone to as many concerts as I normally would have, and that's like therapy to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Music is just so important in my life, and for a while I was just kind of forgetting about it because I was busy doing other things. But like now I'm just like sitting here trying to come up with some sort of inspiration to do something, or even just get out of bed. I'm like, well, what's the point? I can't do anything anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's so indicative of the summer and all that signals the change in the season, and people are out of school and things are more lax. So it's probably a big emotional component to it as well. I mean, for you and a lot of people.
Good point. Let's talk about what pisses us off. Mounts, what pisses you off?
I don't know if it's just the current situation that's brought to the forefront is people that I care about that support Trump. And I like just after that press conference where that reporter asked what's his advice for Americans that are scared, and he told him like he's like a terrible reporter and but then I go on Facebook and it's friends' moms are like, this is our president, he's so great. And I just want to be like, you are out of your fucking mind. Like anyone that supports this guy, and I can't do it because of who they are.
Yeah. Well, this look, this is coming from the guy who tunes out when we even start to talk about politics. So it really has to be pissing you off to want to talk about it on this. So,
well, and everyone knows where I stand. Well, not everyone, but I obviously
people know where you stand for sure.
Exceptionally liberal. I want our like George W. Bush was a piece of shit too, but I could support him because like I could see how that side with Obama, like the same way I felt about Obama, they felt about Bush. But Trump is just a
whole other level.
And I let it go, and then I'll go on there and I'll just see like, oh, remember this when you vote, the Democrats shot down this stimulus package.
Shit, we've been preaching this shit for fucking decades, it's like,
right.
When you're a fan, I get it.
And so I even thought that when I was like, things that piss me off, it was like either the dumb motherfuckers that come into my work, like when they're sick, but then I always talk about work, and then I'm like, this fuck, like, and it's a friend's mom, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I don't know how Republicans, like, if you're a staunch conservative Republican, like, we differ completely fundamentally, and I respect you for your opinions, but there's no redeemable quality for this guy.
No.
Like, none.
But yet they talk about him like he's 100% redeemable.
And there's like people that I that I respect more than most. And I'm like, how the fuck is this your, like, how, I don't know.
It's really altered my view on the world and people in general. Is like, because exactly like you're saying, these are like when I found out that these like certain people supported this man. Okay, at first I was like, okay, I'm going to try to understand. But then everything that he did after that, you're thinking in your mind, well, they can't support him anymore. He's horrible.
Right. Like,
he's a terrible human being. He's doing everything against what they say they believe in. So then I started losing respect for these people that I thought I had respect for. I thought I knew as human beings, and that's a really empty feeling. But I also don't regret it. We don't differ politically. We differ morally. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, that's. I'm glad you shared that with everybody, because I know, and I've made a very concerted effort to avoid the politics. But right now with what we're going through, it's really hard to not discuss it.
Right. Yeah, I had to get it out.
Yeah. So, Dave, what pisses you off? Is it the fact that you came on here and now have to talk about politics?
John Stamos.
John Stamos pisses you off?
No. You know what?
Look, I could totally see that. He never ages. He's a perfect human being. No. Him and what's his face?
Scott
Rob Lowe.
Oh, yeah. Now, you know what? People undermining the severity of this in this situation. I mean, I understand, people have to go to work and stuff like that and all of that, but the people are like, oh, this is nothing, and not taking precautions and blah, 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 because, they're looking out just for themselves. I can understand self-preservation and all that, but it's, everybody beyond that. It's the senior citizens, people are immunocompromised, blah, blah, blah. And not to mention that just because you decide to be a douche, maybe it might not hit someone that's immunocompromised, et cetera, but you're still spreading it, and you're just knocking down more dominoes.
And those people that they're spreading it to have the chance to pass it on to somebody elderly or immunocompromised.
Right.
Yeah. I hope, as much as we try to laugh and have a good time on this, I hope that the people that are actually listening to this listen to what Dave just said. He's the person. Like, now you've listened to his voice. If you've watched the Ever-Evolving, or if you've listened to the Ever-Evolving Truth, you know who Dave is. This is the person that we're trying to avoid giving it to, because the outlook is not good if he gets it, whereas we would survive it easily if we're healthy. So I really hope that hits home, because that's why I'm actually really glad that you agreed to fill in for Leah today, because people need to hear about this. They need to start thinking about the world outside of their fucking face. Plain and simple. The whole world exists beyond your nose, and they matter too. You matter, and they matter. So
yeah, everybody.
Right. You start treating them like you would treat yourself if you were immunocompromised. It's the decent thing to do. What pisses me off? Okay, so this is very specific, but since Mounts went for it, I'm going to as well. So Sunday, and also some point today, we're recording this on Monday, the Senate turned down a second version of the stimulus bill, which would include payments directly to American citizens based on income, an amount of $1,200 or less, depending on where you fall on the income spectrum. So the bill included that, but it included many other things, most of which Democrats agreed to. But there was one big thing where there was a $500 pool of money, a slush fund, if you will, for major corporations, but there was no oversight on how they could spend it. In other words, they could use that money, give themselves a bonus, stock buybacks, fire their employees. Also, fucking Trump's company was eligible for it, and he refused to say whether he would take it or not, take the money. So there's a lot of issues here, and as we know, anytime we offer a bailout to large corporations, they do not spend it on the middle class; they spend it on themselves, right? So Democrats have learned from the mistakes of the last stimulus bill and are trying to avoid us as taxpayers getting completely fucked, right? So all that aside, all the headlines yesterday and today are Democrats oppose the bill, blah, blah, blah. These uneducated fucks out there are sharing this shit and like, what pieces of shit, blah, blah, blah. What assholes, the people need this money, but then they don't research what's going on. Okay. So all that does piss me off. But the real thing that pisses me off is, in addition to the headlines, Democrats block stimulus bill, a lot of times in these articles, and these are legitimate news sources, there's a picture of Nancy Pelosi. Now, Nancy Pelosi is a lightning rod for controversy for reasons that she's not even guilty of, but the right likes to make her a martyr, if you will. They like to put her up on a pedestal and then tear her down in every way possible, right? So the problem with this, and the reason why this pisses me off, is people will share these articles with the misleading headline and Nancy Pelosi's picture with their own headline saying, "This bitch is evil." So the problem with this is the Senate is the one that can't come to an agreement on the bill. Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House. She did not vote on the Senate bill. She had nothing to do with blocking it, and these people are just sharing it like it's her. She's the only reason that's stopping this thing. Like there couldn't be any other thing in the world except for her. It drives me insane because these are the same people that are allowed to vote. They have no idea how government works in any way, shape, or form, and yet they're allowed to help us pick our leaders. I know it's a right of all Americans, but I'm telling you, there needs to be a test. You have to have a basic understanding of how this country works and governs itself in order for you to make a solid, educated choice as to who is supposed to make sure that that's actually happening. And that's what pisses me off. All right. Well, it's been a roller coaster of an episode, gentlemen.
Yes. Wow.
We've had some highs. We've had some lows. We've had a story about tears, as far as the Santa Claus goes, the movie. But it's time for us to sign off. It's going to be our shortest episode this season. Sorry about that. We'll be back to 2.5 hours next week, I'm sure. But I want to give us a chance to plug our shit. Mounds, you got anything to plug?
Nothing as of yet, but they're...
It's on the horizon.
Always in the works.
Always in the works. Dave, you got anything to plug?
No.
Well, I will plug for Dave. Well, first of all, if you want to see Dave's dancing abilities, he's got a video on his personal page. So if you want to see some coronavirus quarantine updates, what Dave is doing,
it's amazing.
I got his personal page. I'm also going to say we should start putting this on our show pages because it is good shit. More people need to see it. So
thank you.
From now on, if you have an idea, you let us know about it. We'll get you live on whatever page you're talking with.
The IV stripper pole video. You guys can do
Yes,
whatever you want with
it was
that.
a good one. It was great. I'm going to plug, of course, our social media. Go check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. All of our shows, really. But I also want to plug to 2 episodes ago where Mounts plugged that he was going to have his YouTube channel up within a week.
Oh, shit.
So
accountability.
I want you to go back and listen to that episode and then fucking private message Mounts until he has to do something.
Well, for the record, I have 2 days off in a row for the first time since I started at my new job, so it probably won't happen. But if it does, if
it's gonna happen,
it's a good possibility. It's tomorrow.
This is the best chance. But and also, again, in case you forgot, check out Berks County Quarantine Open Mic. Check out that Zack Desantis. Check out his music, his bands, and support your local music scene, whether it's in Berks County or somewhere else across the country. We know we have some listeners in Iran and Russia. Support your local music scene too. It's important. But until next week, take care, guys. Be safe.
Thank you.